The classic story structure of the hero's journey from Joseph Campbell goes something like this. A hero in an ordinary world has a call to adventure. Basically, a herald calls him to adventure, and then there's the initial refusal of the call. There's a reason that they don't want to do it, and there's a lot of reasons why. And then a mentor appears and then gets them to cross the threshold and leave the ordinary world for the new world. And once they enter the new world, they go through a series of trials and tribulations, and sometimes it's called the relapse and the resurrection. And they learn a valuable lesson that they return to the ordinary world to share with them. If you look at the story structure of Star Wars, it's literally this. And the reason why, and it's not a coincidence, is because Joseph Campbell has said George Lucas was an amazing student of his. About 2 years ago, I put out a call to adventure. I said, who would like to go fishing with me in the Canadian wilderness? First of all, people are thinking, Chris likes to be outdoors. How's his sensitive skin going to handle this? And number two, he likes fishing. Isn't that barbaric? But all those things are true. I do love fishing in the outdoors. And only one person answered the call to adventure, and his name was Paul Hoke. And so Paul and I, two complete strangers, but we kind of sort of know each other in the way that anyone knows each other on the internet, we go on a fishing trip together. He's from the South, so he has his kind of Southern gentlemanly ways about him, and we kind of hit it off. And we started to share stories on social. So 1 year ago, I put out the same call to adventure, and to my surprise this time around, a whole bunch of people expressed interest in wanting to go fishing with me. So lo and behold, the date comes in September, which just passed. 19 strangers and myself, 19 creatives, embark on the Canadian wilderness. We experienced something wonderful, something I've done many times, but this time, unlike previous times, I was here as a host, not as one to participate in the lodge. First and foremost, my goal for this whole thing was to make sure each person experienced the adventure that I got to experience. And people would say this oftentimes in the trip, you know, photos do not do a place like this justice. And there's this representation of reality that's captured in pixels or pigment that when you see it with your own eyes in stereoscopic vision and you feel the atmosphere and the sun on your face and the crispness of the water and the morning air, it does something to you. And I was thinking a lot about my kickoff lecture, if you will, when my 19 friends and strangers would get together. I said, if you open your heart and you're full of curiosity, and if you let what happens, happens, and you don't try to control it, you will not be the same person that came to this trip. And that's a bold thing for me to say, and I don't want to sound so sappy, but that was the call to adventure. They'd taken the first step, but once they got in the lodge, it was time to experience the trials and tribulations, the frustrations of learning how to fish, having one on the line and getting off the line, probably more than getting on the line, and having boat troubles or thinking that you're lost, but you're not really lost, having a good laugh when you're back at the lodge at the end of the day, recanting stories about what happened in the day. And we had all kinds of wonderful things happen. I mean, I'm sure for the person that happened to, it wasn't wonderful. But there was a moment when I saw a lot of excitement in another boat, and I thought, oh my God, they must have brought in a fish, a good one. And as a fisherman, I'm very excited for them. So we motor up to them, and we're like, hey, did you catch a big fish? And he goes, oh my God. I said, no, what happened? I'm thinking they lost a big fish. He goes, my phone is at the bottom of this ocean. I'm like, oh no, what were you doing? What happened? He says, I was so excited about getting this weird upside down shot of you guys in your boat. I was holding it upside down and it slipped right out of my hand and straight into the water. I said, I'm so sorry to hear that. Trying to express deep empathy and condolences for losing a $1,000 iPhone. He goes, you know what? It was a lesson. And what's the lesson? To be fully present in the moment. I wasn't present, obviously, and I'm grateful that this happened now. And I was thinking, his name is Phil, by the way. I was like, Phil, what an incredible transformation that 30 seconds ago, it's, oh no, I just lost my phone. By the time we came up to you and asked you about it, it was like, it was a reminder to be present. Here's the crazy thing about Phil. We had a jackpot. I think we agreed to $10, and there's 19 of us, so there's $190 in the pot minus the 10 that you put in, whoever gets the biggest fish. And it was like really close. We're talking about half pound here, half pound there. And Eric Moore had the biggest fish on the first day, and it was holding true to the entire trip. Second to last day, Phil, of all people, pulls in a fish, a salmon, that's half a pound bigger, and he wins the jackpot. And we're all so happy, and it just couldn't have gone to a better person. A person who I think has grown so much and experienced the totality of being out in the Canadian wilderness. The really cool thing is we got to learn a lot about each other and to form a relationship in ways that we haven't been able to. If you're not familiar with this concept, it's called the Z-MOT, the zero moment of truth. It's published by Google, who did this study about all the things that people do before they make a purchase. So the 0 moment of truth goes something like this. Somebody needs to spend at least 7 hours getting to know you across 11 touch points, across 4 different spaces or places to really get to know you. That's where we stop becoming strangers, and it's the beginning of friendship. 7 hours, 11 touch points, 4 locations. And so I've been thinking about this. Is this a theory? Is there something more to this? And at every opportunity I've been able to do this, I've tried my best for whatever group I'm meeting with is to change the location 3 more times. And something does happen. People walk away feeling more connected, more themselves, just less alone. It's a wonderful thing. So when these 19 strangers decided to go on this trip, we went to eating at a Cambodian Vietnamese restaurant that's really well known. That's like Michelin star level kind of eating, but really down to earth. Eating family style with a lazy Susan in the middle of us. Outrageously crowded table because there's too many humans at one table. Experiencing that, then meeting up at the airport, this small airport, and then flying on a small 2-prop plane, then water taxiing in a boat, and then landing on this floating lodge. And that was just day 1, guys. That's just day 1. And then being able to swap boats, trade stories, hang out at the cabin, bump into one another in the dry room, getting on our wet gear so that we go out fishing. And then the post-trip shenanigans that happened, and which was really incredible for me because literally the day that we finished fishing, that night I was doing a fireside chat organized by one of my friends in Vancouver. And my 19 friends, most of them came with a few others, and they sat in the front row. And when Ami introduced me on stage, they were obnoxiously loud, clapping, applauding for me, standing up, like, guys, you're embarrassing me, sit down. But I got to experience something, true connection, getting to know people beyond the surface level. I just want to share the story with you because maybe you want to organize something, or maybe you were reluctant for a call to adventure. And the cool thing is, I guess this is the mystery of life. Some things that look like scary, challenging things on the opposite side will feel like the best decision you've ever made. So to the person, people would come up to me and thank me for allowing them to go on a trip like this. I said, allow you? You pay the money and you get to go. That's how this works. And they experienced something, each and every single one of them in a different way. And I got to see them in a different light. Many of them had talents that no one had ever seen, and they'd never dared to share it with anybody. But when you feel safe and you feel really connected, I think your guard goes down and you allow a little bit more of yourself out. And although I probably had one of the worst fishing trips on a how much fish did you catch level, I had one of the best fishing trips I've ever had in my life. Getting to share that with 19 strangers who became friends, I think. And the next time there's a call to adventure, whether it's from me or someone else, I hope you cross the threshold. Hey, thanks for listening to the story. And I just want to give you a simple thing to do. If you are interested in going on trips like this with me, send me a DM, let me know I'm interested. There's a wait list that's already happening for trips like this and others, and I'd love to see you on one of these things. My feeling as a teacher is I share something with someone and they share it with 2 more people and they share it with 2 more people, and that's the power of education and storytelling. So if you're ready to go on an adventure to go totally outside of your comfort zone and do something weird with some wackos, let me know. That's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll see you on the next pod.